Well, in the New Testament, the word reward, which is Greek mythos, it's used quite a few times. In fact, it's on par pretty much with words like judgment, other very common terms that you would associate with the New Testament. So it's not a rare phenomenon for this word to be used in the New Testament. And if you look at how it's used, it kind of breaks down into two different ways. There's reward in the sense that we would normally think of reward, which is human work done and then payment based on the value of that human work. It's just payment given for a work done kind of idea, which is what we used to in daily life. But there's another use, and this is when God gets involved in the whole picture of rewards. And that would be when it's used in the sense of God's giving based on the moral value of something that a human being does. And in that case, there's not this direct quid pro quo kind of the value of the work and the value of the reward. That is left unspecified. So there's two uses. Jesus uses rewards a lot in his teaching. If you think about some of the parables that he gave in Luke 12, he has the parable of the wise and the foolish servants. And there's actually 4 different levels of rewards, or punishments in that case, that the servants receive based on what they did with what they were given. In Luke 19, you've got the parable of the minas, where you have 3 people given 3 different levels, different numbers of minas to do something with while the master's away. And they're also rewarded differently based on what they did with that. 2 of them are rewarded. In fact, the third one is punished because he didn't do anything with what he was given. You've got another example in Matthew where Jesus' disciples come to him or say to him, "We've given up everything to follow you." And Jesus' response is that they'll receive 100-fold in the life to come because they've done this. And then once you get past Jesus' teachings into the epistles, the clearest teaching, I think, in the New Testament, in the epistles, on the subject of rewards, would be Paul in 1 Corinthians 3. He talks about how, as believers, we build on a foundation. That foundation is Jesus Christ. But how we build on that foundation determines what we receive in the way of rewards on the day of judgment. He lays out 2 different groups of types of works. You have the precious stones, the gold and the silver, which receive a reward on the day of judgment. You have the wood, hay, and stubble on the other side, which get burned up on the day of judgment. And he makes the point that even though the person is saved on that day, that he suffers loss. So I think in not only the frequency of the teaching in the New Testament, you see that it's an important teaching, but also in the way it's described by Jesus and Paul, that there is definitely this teaching concerning what we do as believers affecting what will happen to us on the day of judgment, what kind of reward we will receive from the Lord.